You are live at the Literary Lounge with your host, Destiny D, bringing you the newest and the brightest of the literary world right to your ear hole. Every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in, listen up, and learn something. This is the spot for new hot authors who are given the opportunity to shine. Each Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will showcase a new author here at the Literary Lounge. We are taking out the time to give all of our literary friends an opportunity to showcase their work. The New Author Spotlight is a platform that allows us to ask up to 10 questions or more to give you, the audience, the most in-depth current information about each writer in their literary piece. We will have a new guest every week. Stay tuned.
Hey, 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 this is your girl, Destiny D, live on WTLR Radio. And yes, you are tuned in to the Literary Lounge. And today's date is May 18th, 2019. And we are on episode 53. And today's special guest is none other than Miss Alycia Morris. And we're going to be talking about her writing beginnings and also about her new book titled Isis and Tarvis, A New Beginning. So with no further ado, we're going to see if she's ready and available. Hello, Miss Morris.
Hello,
Are you there?
Destiny. Yes, I'm
Hey.
here. Hi.
So I'm so glad that you had the opportunity to where you can actually speak to me today because we really wanted to get to know about you and your new book. So if you would like to give a formal introduction, let everybody know where you're calling from, how you got started.
Well, I am author Alycia Morris. I was raised in Texas. I am currently living in Oklahoma City right now. I started writing back in 2007. My first book got published in 2014, and I've been writing ever since. I've got 9 books underneath me and working on the 10th one.
Okay, so when did you actually begin writing? Like, how far back did it start?
It started with poetry. I started writing poetry in college, and I used to do like the little poetry slams that they would have on campus. And I went from poetry to short stories. And one of my short stories is what I turned into my first book. So I just kind of just elaborated and just kind of ventured outside the box. And I loved it. I had the creativity for it, and so I just kept going with it.
Okay. So how did this actual book come into play? What made you brainstorm and put this book together?
This book is based off, it's fiction, but then it's nonfiction. It has a lot of parts of my life in it, things that I encountered, domestic violence. I was in a domestic violence relationship, drug abuse. I dealt with someone that was on drugs, and just going through like the college life into the adult life and how things change. This book was released in 2014, so it is a re-release. I changed the title of it, changed some things on the inside, but it's almost like my personal story of kind of like just really finding someone that just finding love, period. just somebody who's gonna love you unconditionally, no matter what, because the heart knows what it wants, and when the heart wants what it wants, you have to give it to them. And so that is really what Isis and Tarvis' story is about. It's a real love story, but there was a lot of stipulations. There was a lot of chaos that went on within that story.
Okay, so do you consider yourself to be the main character as Isis, or is it just a perspective that you had as far as the female version of the book?
Isis is kind of based off of me because of the way she looks, um, and because of the things that she encounters. But there's also other people that I know that I kind of threw in there to go with her character. So it's not all just me, but there's also other females entwined also.
Okay, so when you put this book and everything together, like, what was the main goal that you wanted everybody to understand between? Was this like a love hate relationship, or was it more like finally I found one type of thing?
It was finally I found the one. It's not the whole, like, it's not just a perfect love story all the way through. Like, it starts off in one way and then it totally flips, and it'll have you just like, wait, what just happened here? And it just shows you that if you are really committed to finding the one and wanting to be happy in life, this is a story that you need to read to see that there are so many things that people overcome in their life, in relationships, to really get to that point of saying, I found the one and I'm happy with who I'm with.
Yeah, now that says a lot because there's a lot of people out here who settle for who they with, or either they're dealing with bad relationships and haven't decided on whether or not to just go ahead on and leave, and they endure a whole lot of things that technically they shouldn't have to. So I think that that's good that you were able to show real life situations and actually a story that we could relate to. So I know you said that you put the book out originally in 2014, but you redone it. So can you tell me exactly like how long it actually took you to actually write the book?
It took me, I originally wrote it in 2007, and I did not finish writing that book until 2012 because I just
Oh,
kept putting off, and I didn't want, I really didn't want to put myself into it, but then my heart and my spirit just kept saying, no, this is what has to be done. This is the way you have to tell it. Like, you have to do it verbatim because it's not going to make sense. But then also, you're not going to tell the story the way you want to tell it. And so, therefore, I had to just bite down and just say, okay, this is it. And so I had to open up parts of me that only certain people knew about to really put into the book so people could really get a feel of what she was going through, in a relationship, and how she overcame it to still be able to not give up on love, to still have faith that she knew that one day she would be able to have somebody that loved her the same way that she loved them.
you know what? And that is very rarely found. And I do honestly believe that most people do search for the perfect one, and it's like some of them don't get married. They get to the 40s and 50s and feel like they wasted their life away because they didn't, follow their heart when it came to one particular person back when they was in high school or something like that, and they never get married, they never have children, and then they kind of live in a life of regret. I know so many people like that, and then you have so many other people on the other side of the spectrum where they gave their heart to all the wrong people, and the people that they chose to have kids by were like the worst example of a love that they could possibly ever have. So to have somebody that actually met somewhere in the middle and it became golden, I think that's nice that you were able to put that together and allow that to be shown. So with that being said, like, is there any particular part of the book that really stands out to you and like pulls at the heartstrings? When it came to when you were writing.
There is a part in the story when she first encounters her domestic abuse. Like it's the first time that he ever hits her, and I think it goes for the most women. Like when it happens to you, it's something that seems so unreal. It seems like, this is somebody that I would have never thought of, I would have never dreamed of to do something like this to me. And her first encounter is very severe. It's very severe. But there it goes through, that's not her first time, and then she'll have another time, and she'll have another time. But then there's a part where it happens to her, and she makes a phone call, and she calls somebody. And even writing it, talking about it now, it still brings tears to my eyes because when she calls them, and tells them what happened, they were like, I don't care if it takes the last breath of my body. I will never let anything, happen to you again. And the fact of having somebody like that for you, it means a lot. Some people, they don't have anybody that they can call. They just have to call a hotline. But when you have somebody that you have a personal background with that you can call and say, I need help, and they're like, I got you, this is never going to happen again, And so it spoke volumes. It spoke volumes to me.
So you're saying that Tarvis was kind of like her savior, not the actual person that she was in a relationship with when she was going through the domestic violence stuff.
Well, her and Tarvis, their relationship kind of went back and forth. She was with Tarvis in the beginning, and then things happen, and she doesn't end up with Tarvis. But then her and Tarvis end up crossing paths again. And when they cross paths again, that's when they kind of start realizing, okay, maybe we made a mistake in the people that we're in relationships with now. And so after they cross paths, they're both kind of, the strings are kind of tugging at their hearts of, okay, what do we do? Or what should we do? Should we just let it go? Should we just, just be friends and be done with it? But there's a part in the book where, they both realized at a point where they were like, we made a mistake, we should have fought for each other. And so it's just a story of saying that sometimes you meet somebody at the wrong time and they might be the right person for you. So you have to just have faith in your heart and your mindset that, okay, maybe when the right time comes about, that right person will come back to you. And that's what happens with Isis and Tarvis.
Right, because, sometimes it's like, you may be in that situation where you're in a relationship with somebody else, and it may not necessarily be the one that's truly right for you or good for you. And then it's like somebody might come along that, may have some feelings towards you, and you may have feelings towards them, but it's just that the season is not right, or it's not the right time for that type of thing, because you're already dealing with one thing and you don't want to mix the two. You're trying to give respect to the bad relationship without moving on to something better. So it's like you kind of like weighing the options, and then somehow by chance, happenstance, that original relationship finally like dissolved itself, and then you end up meeting them. And most older people say, well, if it was truly meant to be, and it'll find its way back to you, or either it'll happen, or you just have to wait and let it happen. But
Yeah.
I'm just glad that Tarvis wasn't the one that was doing the abusing, because to a certain degree, it's like you have to be. I was listening to what you were saying, and I was hoping and praying that Tarvis wasn't the initial. She,
oh my God,
was in the relationship with him, and she chose to get beat down and still stay. Because, like, I tell a lot of women, when it comes to relationships like that, if a man got to put his hands on you, he don't love you. Like, there's no love in that. And, if you have the opportunity to leave, then leave. Don't stick around, because if they feel comfortable enough to put their hands on you, they willing to do more. You know what I'm saying? And the longer you stay, the longer yourself in the position where you can be hurt worse than the last time, or the time before, or the time before.
And
So is he
the thing
the
with,
one that?
No, It wasn't Tarvis. The thing is, the person that it was somebody that she had known for a very long time. Like she had known them through high school, through college. It was a very long period of time, and they never ever showed signs of being like having a temper or even having that type of demeanor. It was something that literally for her, it happened at the snap of a finger, is the way it happened. And so it was hard for her to kind of just be like, what just happened here? Like, what is going on? How is this person, like, what is going on? I don't want to tell the whole story, but
Yeah,
just know it's not Tarvis. Tarvis, she knew Tarvis in college. She didn't know Tarvis in high school, but they still had a connection with each other. They still had a relationship with each other, and so it wasn't really the point of her like, oh, do I stay with him or do I stay with him? There's a reason behind everything, and there are certain ways you have to go about certain things. And so, yes, a lot of people do say, just get up and leave. But then it was the point of, okay, where do I go from here when I leave? What do I do? Like, she had never been put in that situation before. So it's a life lesson. The whole book goes through life lessons, things that people have encountered, things that some people have never encountered. It might be things that some people are going through right now. You might be sitting here with a man and you're just like, this is the one, but then deep down in your spirit, there's somebody else that you feel connected with on a different level. And so you're fighting with that. Like, do I stay with this one or do I stay with that one? And Isis goes through that.
Okay, I understand. And it's funny that you should mention, like, people who have been in relationships like that and they feel like they trapped into that particular relationship to the point to where they start to think, where do I go? Like, if I make that decision to walk, where am I going? Who am I going to deal with? What is my go-to? Do I have a place to stay? Will I have means to survive if I leave this particular person? How do I start over? Do I even have anything to where if I do leave, like, can I make it? Can I, go beyond this particular person? And I just saw the other day, like, there was a young lady who had this thing that she posted on Facebook, and she was talking about how bad her relationship was with her husband. So what she did was, even though she knew the type of man that he was, she chose to stay in the marriage for 5 years, even though she knew that he was infidel. You know what I'm saying? Like, he cheated on her. He had a baby by another woman. He did stuff for the other woman, and just he just tore up the whole entire relationship and the marriage that they had. But even though she stayed, she didn't stay without a purpose. Like, she literally was saving all of her money up. She got her credit fixed. She got it so that when she did step, she had everything she needed, and she made a plan. Like, and people was like bashing her and was like, well, why would you sit there and live on a man rent free, this, that, and the other for 5 years just to get your game right? Why not? If you already know that the man is not doing what he needs to do by you, he done cheated on you and had a baby by another woman, he trying to bring the side piece into your home so that he can make sure that he see the baby. Why go through all of that extra stuff without having an exit strategy? Because you already know the relationship is foul. Like, and why would she be wrong to have a game plan? I know a whole lot of people that don't have a plan. It's like they just leave with
And that's another thing in marriage. Like, people will tell you to leave all day long, but what they don't realize, when you are married to someone and you need to leave, you have to have a game plan. It's not like you can just go and your divorce is going to happen in one day. You have to figure out, like, it depends on how long you've been married to somebody. It depends on who makes the most money. Like, there's a lot of things that come into play when you tell somebody, oh, just leave, because you can't just get up and leave, especially in a domestic violence situation. If you are being abused or whatever the case may be, yeah, you can leave, but there are so many instances where women, they're not working. They are a stay-at-home mom. Their husband is the sole provider for them. So you telling them to leave, what are they leaving with? They're about to be out with nothing, and especially if they have children. So those are different things that you have to think about when you tell somebody, when you're talking to somebody and you tell them, oh, well, you just need to leave. It's like you don't know their whole story. So we have to be mindful of that when someone is talking to us about their relationships and what's going on.
Right. Now, my situation is that I was in that position. So it was like I had already set in my mind that it was something that I could not deal with. Anytime that you draw blood from someone and then you take and rip the clothes off of them and then you pour peroxide on it to get the blood off to cover up the fact that you drew blood to start with, that person is dangerous. And if they're willing to cover that up, they're willing to kill you and cover that up. So I made it in my mind that I could not rest my head on a pillow beside a man that I knew could potentially kill me while I was sleeping. I chose to leave. Whether if I had money, whether if I had a place to go or anything, I got out. And that's why I tell women, if you have to leave for your safety, leave. If it comes down to you having to go back to get some stuff, go with a police escort, but get yourself out of harm's way first. So even though you do kind of like jump on a whim, at least you're getting to safety. That's my thing. Get to safety. There's places and
Well,
people who deal with battered women all the time, and there's people who give like donations and things like that for particular reasons such as those. They have care package where you can get your soap and your deodorant and your toothbrush and your toothpaste and a potential place to stay. They do have Dove homes where they can put you and your children in to keep you safe until you find a means to protect yourself. I jumped from hotel to hotel, house to house, family member to family member until I was safe. And sometimes not having anything doesn't mean nothing. It just means you're traveling with less. So you have to
but
look
see,
at both parameters.
in the
Plan or
case
not.
in the book, in the case in the
Mhm.
book though, she didn't have anywhere to go. Like they were on vacation. They were somewhere like off the grid, away from, society. And so it's like, what do you do then? What do you do when you're in another country and you don't even have access to a phone? And
Yeah,
so those are the things that I portrayed in the book because that was the first encounter. He waited until they were away from home. He waited to where there was no cell phone service. He waited until basically she was very vulnerable. She had no choice but to stay with him. And so
right.
there are certain instances where things happen and then it's just like, you have that mind frame of I don't want to sleep next to you. I don't know what you're going to do to me. I don't know if you're going to kill me or what could happen. But then it's like you're stuck. You are literally stuck. And so the book goes through possibly every scenario that you could imagine for a domestic abuse victim. Like she went through the scenario of not having anybody there. She went through the scenario of having someone there that she could call. And then she also went through the scenario of standing her ground and finally saying, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I'm done. And so it goes through all the different aspects.
Yeah, that last final aspect that you was mentioning, the first thing that came to mind and popped up in my head was that movie with Chris Brown. It was like This Christmas, like that, and the girl found out that her husband was cheating on her, and she caught him in the shower.
Oh yeah.
With the baseball and the best.
Yep. Well, I can honestly let listeners know the last when Isis stands her ground against her abuser, that scene in the book actually happened. That is when I finally was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore with you. Like, this is what it's gonna be. So that scene in the book actually happened.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
that
imagine.
verbatim.
You know what? I've had my moments, where I said what I was gonna do and what I won't gonna do, and then I even had, how when you spaz for like a few seconds and you see yourself doing it, but you don't.
Mhm.
It's like you rationalizing it to see whether or not you can get away with it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had that. I had that vision pop up in my head, like, and a small, still voice was like, go in the kitchen and get that heavy skillet that your grandma fried that chicken in and tear that tail up. And then I thought about
Mhm.
it, and I was like, it's a good idea. But then I'm looking at the guy, and I'm like, wait a minute. Now, he's like 6'7", he's like 365 pounds. Like, dude, like, am I going to get him with one good swing, or is he going to bounce back from that first swing and get me back? So it was like, I'm thinking all of this stuff out, and I'm looking at all the parameters, and I'm like, nah, the best thing for me to do is just leave. Because, like, that's that fight or flight thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have one that's, it's like Medea said, if you take your earrings off and all this other stuff, and you talking about call the police and all this, that, and then you get scared, then you got one that you could probably correct or beat up or get away with. But if he said call the police, I'll dial the number for you, you need to run.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
need to
like
let that go.
yeah, you have to rationalize the situation and see what type of person that you're dealing with. And if it looks like it's one sided and it ain't going in your favor, the best thing for you to do is go. And and
But
it's kind of funny that you early.
in some instances, you have an adrenaline rush, and when you get that good adrenaline rush, I'm telling you, even a person my size, I was 5'3", 135 pounds. He was 6'2", about 200 something pounds. And in my mind frame, I'm like, yeah, you are bigger than me. But when that adrenaline rush hits you, you're like the Incredible Hulk. There is nothing that you cannot do. There is nothing you are able to, as what I want to say, you are able to put on as much damage to a person as you think you can in your mind, and it will happen. Like, you can put
That
a grown man, like you said, 6'7", 300 pounds, you could have probably brought him to his knees with the adrenaline rush that you have in your body, because everything that you've gone through, everything that he has put on you, everything that he has done to you it's starting to come out. It's starting to just release from your body, and you're releasing that onto them. And so, therefore, you've got the strength of 100 men, and you're willing to do anything and everything that you have to do to save your life in order to get out of that home.
that's right. And that I believe. But when you're rationalizing it, it's not gonna go the way that you're thinking it out. Cause like you said, when you're dealing with a life or death situation, and it's like you have to. It's like if you're trying to choose, then your adrenaline is not pumping, because adrenaline allows you to do things without thinking. Because it's a basic
Mhm.
survival tactic. It's like, okay, if I don't do this, he gonna kill me. Do it, and that's what your body
Yep.
does without you thinking twice about it. Because I had multiple situations where it was either fight or flight. And this one particular time, it was fight, because I was
Mhm.
actually in the bathroom. I was sitting on the toilet of all things, getting ready to take a shower. And he came into the bathroom and he had a Paula Deen kitchen knife. I mean, a big butcher's knife. And he sent it past my face and stabbed it into the wall. So while he's standing over top of me screaming God knows what, because I'm not focusing on nothing he just said, all I'm seeing is the blade in the wall. So my thing was, get the knife, keep him from getting it. Don't allow him to use it on me. Get the knife, don't let him use it. That was all I kept thinking. Get the knife, don't let him use it. So I snatched the knife out the wall and I hid it behind myself, like back where the plumbing of the toilet seat was, to keep it away from him. And he tried all he knew how to get that knife from me, and he couldn't get it because I had that much adrenaline in me that I was forcing him to try to get me upward enough to act, and I was sending all my weight on the knife and pushing myself back. I mean, we all over the floor in that bathroom, but he did not get that knife. So it's like, but then when it's a whole nother situation and you rationalizing, should I do this and should I do that? It's like, your mind, if you're thinking about it, you're not going to follow through with it. It's like you're going to change your own mind and be like, no, let me just leave the situation as it is and just get out. So it's like we all have that moment where it's like fight or flight. It's either protect yourself right then or get out while you feel like you're safe enough to go. And I tell anybody, if you're dealing with something like that, say something. You know what I'm saying? And if the people that you're talking to don't do nothing, then you talk to somebody else and you deal with somebody else until somebody does something. Even though we don't really like to deal with the police department and stuff like that when it comes to certain situations, especially when it's a black man involved, because we don't want to see our black men get hurt or caught up with the police and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like if you're doing wrong and you're putting my life in jeopardy, that's the time to call them. That's the time to say, okay, I need.
In this sense, ISIS never called the police, which in my instance, I never called the police. I never once called the police in my domestic violence situation. Somebody else called the police. Once I told them what was going on, somebody else did it. And even when that person called, I was still like, no, why'd you call the police? Because it just depends on the relationship. It depends on, how things are going. Like, you still don't want to believe what's going on is what's going on. And so calling the police is what makes it realistic. It's like, oh, no, this is real. This is what's happening. And so in the instance in the book, when things do just get completely out of control, she's not the one that calls the police. Tarvis calls the police. And even though because of his status, he still was like, I don't care. He was like, I want him arrested. I want charges pressed. But it takes you to have somebody in your life that's going to say, this has got to stop. You can go run to your homegirls all you want to, but which one of them is actually going to pick up the phone and call the police for you? Because a lot of them are not going to do that because they don't want to get involved in your circumstances and your situation that you're going through. Yes, they'll let you sleep on your couch. Yes, they will be like, hey, I'll come get you. But when you have to take the initiative to get outside people involved, that's when it gets real. And that's what's really scary for a lot of women when it comes to a domestic violence situation.
Right. And another situation that we look at, it's like you have other women who endure all of that stuff, and they put it in their mind that it's their fault as to the reason why they're being abused. And they make up all of these excuses as to why they got hurt and all this other stuff. Like, well, if I had dinner ready when he got off work, he wouldn't have been upset and he wouldn't have hit me. Or if I had made myself look nice and he wouldn't have did anything that hurt my face or anything like that. Because a lot of people they take makeup and they cover up black eyes, they wear dark shades, they do all these things to hide all of the bruises and the marks and stuff they don't receive, to keep people from knowing that they're going through things. And I think that that's so bad to go through. It's almost like having a stroke or a heart attack. It's a silent killer when you allow somebody to abuse you and you to cover it up to make it so like everything is all right and it's not. You're being abused and you don't seek help. That's why I be telling people, like, if you're going through something like that, find help, look for help, get whatever you need to get and get out. Because I hate to see, because like in my time frame of me being a writer, I've dealt with other writers in my writers guild. It's about 80 of us that's in this guild, and I've seen so many times where I've lost some of my girls. You know what I'm saying, to domestic violence. You know, to the point to where like they got out, they left their husband. Like one of the babies that just passed like year before last, she actually did leave her husband, and it came down to her actually winning like a presidential medal for her book. And you know, of course, there were flyers and things that were sent out as far as the actual event and where she was going to be at to receive the award. And her ex-husband showed up and followed her back and killed her. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So it's like a lot of people, when they think that they're out, they're just out, and that they're away from the imminent danger. But when you live your life on Facebook and you live your life to the point to where everybody knows your next move and knows where you are, you put yourself at risk for anybody that was willing to do anything to you. And
Yeah.
that's the situation that happened to her. She had got out, but she let it be known where her next move was. And if she
And
didn't
that's
have an
even
inkling of
like
it,
what's even
then
crazier is my situation is I had children with this man. So it's not like you can just cut off and just go. No, these are my
yeah,
children's father. And
yeah,
so
you can.
you have to you have to find a way, to really be able to tell yourself, okay, how's this impact gonna be on my children? Do I even want my children around him? Like
Right.
what are the steps, that's gonna go through? So, even though it happened over what I'll say it happened over 13 years ago, it probably just took me within the last 4 years to just really feel comfortable around him at all. And that's just real
See,
talk. That's just
I would,
him.
me
That's
personally,
just
I
him
wouldn't
coming
be.
to getting our kids and, just even talking to him. It took a lot. But I had to pray about it, and I had to learn to forgive. I was
Ooh,
told, even if they don't know that you forgave them, you need to yourself say, you know what, and let God know, I forgive you for what you've done, because if not, it's just gonna keep being a burden on me as a person, and there's bigger and better things out there for me than me holding a grudge against somebody else. So I had to let that grudge go, and I had to learn to forgive for whatever was going on and just live my life. It's like I know that we will never be a couple again. There's never going to be a time and place where you need to be around me like that. But you do need to still be a father to your children, and I need to still try to give you that opportunity to right your wrongs and be that father that you want to be.
and to a certain degree, I agree with half what you just said, and I think it's because yes, you are okay with forgiving, to make sure that there's no hate in your heart on behalf of yourself, to make sure that there's no vexing in your spirit to where you feel like there's hate within you for this particular person. Yeah, I agree that grudge should be let go, but not forgotten. Now, when it comes to children being involved, I don't feel like that should have been something that was actually allowed unless it was supervised. And if you didn't want to be in the presence of the supervision, like have your mother or somebody that you feel safe and comfortable with being with your children, having a supervised visit, that's something different. Because the last thing that I would want is if I had a little girl, not just boys, but if I had a little girl and somewhere along the line he had not had change in his frame of mind to where he felt like he could abuse her, it would be on my conscience forever and a day that I allowed myself to put my child in a situation that was compromising because I wanted them to be around their daddy. Now, every man is not a father just because he creates a child. So it's like you have to put it in your mind, am I allowing them to see their father or am I allowing them to see the man that I had children by? It's two different things. And if his mindset ain't in the right place to make sure that he don't do anything to jeopardize his children's safety, it's kind of hard to sit there with a straight face and say, I'm going to let somebody, when I know that what they've done in the past. Not to say that they haven't changed and they haven't grown up, but that would definitely be something that I would be finding out, whether or not if they have already conformed and changed. Like if they don't do stuff like that no more. Because like you said in the beginning, it was all peaches and cream. So it's like you didn't know that it was that person was that type of way. But that's how it always is. When you're dealing with somebody like on a job, or you're dealing with somebody that you went to school with, or you're dealing with somebody that you went to college with, you're gonna only see their good side. You're not gonna see the flaws that they have unless you have an intimate relationship where they let their guard down and allow their other side to be seen. So it's like when you start to see the signs like jealousy and envy and times when you seen them snap on somebody else, those things are telltale signs as to how that particular person may be if they get heated or if they get mad. So it's like I don't know if I honestly wholeheartedly don't know. Like I probably would have forgave him, but I wouldn't have put my children in jeopardy, especially if I could tell that
Oh
he hadn't
no.
changed.
Okay.
Thank
Okay. My kids weren't in jeopardy at first. Okay, let's clear that up. Like before they even started seeing him again, it had been years because he was put on a restraining order. He was on a restraining order for over 3 years. He couldn't have any contact with his children howsoever. And then even after the restraining order had been lifted, I let my children make the decision on when they were ready to see him. Nobody forced them to be like, oh, no, you have to see them. No, we gave them the option. We sat down, we talked with them. My kids went through counseling. My kids went through therapy, to really say, okay, are you comfortable? Do you feel like, being in his presence? And my children for a long time were like, no, we don't want to see him. We don't want to talk to him. We're good. And that's how it went. And so we had to let them make that decision on when they were ready. And when they were ready, they came to me and they said, hey, Mom, can you call our dad? Sure, no problem. I called, hey, your kids want to see you, and it wasn't one of those where he was just like, oh, you done kept my kids from me. No, he understood what he had did and the consequences for what he had did. So therefore, it wasn't one where I had to feel bad about a decision that I had made. He knew like, okay, there's a consequence for your actions, and this is what the consequence is. It's not even about me at this point. It's about the fact that you had to miss out on so many years of your children's lives because of something that you did in an instant moment due to what you were thinking in your head. And so, no,
right.
I would never tell anybody to like, no, just because that's their father, oh, they have to see them. No, that's not the case. There are different speculations, there are different laws, things that you go through to where you can maintain your kid's safety to make sure that just because a man is paying child support or whatever like that does not necessarily mean that he gets the visitation right, because of if there is a domestic situation. So there are ways to go about it. So, no, my children were never in harm at all. We were able to it actually went a lot smoother than what I thought it would do. I just knew I was like, oh, this is going to blow up. Like something's going to happen. But it didn't. And so, now, my kids they're going to graduate in probably about a year. And, with everything that's going on, their father will be able to be there to see that, because they could have made the choice to say, no, we don't ever want to see you again. And I would have accepted that because they're my children, because this is their life also. Like, I'm not going to force something upon you. But for them to make the decision and be the bigger people and say, you know what, hey, we're going to give you a chance to see if you've changed and to prove yourself. And that's really what they were doing. And
Well,
at this point, he's still trying to be a good parent. He's trying to make sure that he can fulfill that father role for as long as he can. Because as kids get older, they're going to get to that point where they're not going to call their parents. So it's like he's just basking in the moment that he can bask.
That's good. I'm glad that they were able to have, that reconcile amongst them, and it made them, the bigger person when it came to, them living life. So that's good that they got the chance to do that. So, right before we go, I want to give you the opportunity to let everybody know where we can find your book for sale and how much is it going for.
Well, right now it is live on Amazon. You can go to Amazon.com. You can type in my name, Alycia Morris with a Y, and click on the link. It's 99 cents for the ebook. If you got Kindle Unlimited, it's free. All you have to do is download it. The paperback will probably be available by the summertime. We're still working some things out with the distribution. But for right now, you can get the ebook. If you don't have to have a Kindle. I tell people this all the time. You don't have to have a Kindle. There is a Kindle app that you can download to your phone because most people, they read on the go. So you can download the app to your phone, download the books, and read whenever you want to. If you do check the book out, please, 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 I cannot reiterate enough, please leave a review. I don't care if it's a 1-star or a 5-star. Let me know what you thought about the book. Let me know what you thought about the story. If it touched you, if it didn't touch you, let me know because you all's reviews is what makes me a better writer because if you don't tell me what I'm doing wrong, then I don't know. So please check it out. You can also go to my website, www.authoraliciamorris.com. You can also click the link from the website and it'll download right for you.
Okay, and do you have any events that we should know about that's coming up in the near future?
Oh, I will be hosting my first Single Ladies Forum here in Oklahoma City, where it's going to be going over my relationship manuals. That is going to be July the 13th from 1 to 4 at the Northwest Library. I have a couple of fashion shows coming up, and I also have in the works to do a single male forum that hopefully we can get done by the end of the year.
Okay, and if anybody want to reach out to you and connect with you, what are your social media plugs so that they can do so?
I am on Facebook at author Alycia Morris. I am on Instagram. It's all lowercase letters, author_Alycia_Morris. I'm on Twitter. It's Goat Lily, GOATLILI. It's all capitalized. I'm on Snapchat, author Alycia. I'm on LinkedIn, author Alycia Morris. And also, you can reach out to me on my website at www.authoraliciamorris.com.
Okay, and with that being said, do you have any final words or anything you want to say to your listeners?
Thank you all so much for riding with me for all these years that I have been writing. I appreciate you all so much. There is so much more to come for me. Just keep pushing, keep hanging with me, keep giving me your thoughts and your comments via Facebook and Instagram. I love, love, love all of the interaction that you all are giving me right now. It's so great. It's such a blessing. You guys are wonderful, and like I said, there's so much more to come. This is just the beginning, so let's get it.
All right. Well, I really want to take out the time to thank you for being on the show today. I really do appreciate you taking out the time because I know you're a busy young lady. And like I say on every show, this show would be nothing without the guests. So I do want to thank you for doing so. Um, Please keep us posted and let us know if anything comes of this interview so that we'll know whether or not if you got any good feedback or if you met any new people and some things happened since the show because we really want to keep in contact and know those things. So we want to thank you so much for being on the show today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I had such a wonderful time, Destiny. This has been great.
I appreciate that. So just to let everybody know, the full entire show will be available for playback. We will be dropping the links and everything on our Facebook pages. I also send it to Miss Alycia so that she'll be able to let you guys hear the show. It will also be available on our YouTube channel, so just be looking out for the new drop that's going to be on our YouTube channel. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening in today. And you have been listening to the Literary Lounge. And Miss Alycia, you have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you. You too, hon.
All right, take care.
You are live at the Literary Lounge with your host, Destiny D, bringing you the newest and the brightest of the literary world right to your ear hole. Every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in, listen up, and learn something.
All right, guys, make sure that you're tuning in next week where our special guest will be none other than author Alycia. We're going to be talking about his new book next week, so we want all of you guys to tune in.
This is the spot for new hot authors who are given the opportunity to shine. Each Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will showcase a new author here at the Literary Lounge. We are taking out the time to give all of our literary friends an opportunity to showcase their work. The new Author Spotlight is a platform that allows us to ask up to 10 questions or more to give you, the audience, the most in depth current information about each writer in their literary piece. We will have a new guest every week. Stay tuned.